Tell me why we're here today and a little bit about your project.
Well, they don't read resumes at funerals, but they do tell stories, and people do remember stories. So I'm a storyteller, and I was here to pitch the television show Magnet.
What is Magnet?
It's Mad Men's take on the Calgary oil patch, beginning in its glory days of the 1970s and ending when the NEP came along and killed the golden goose. So our protagonist is when Boyd Butler, a broke Saskatchewan engineer, gets fired from his job when a wildcat whale blows up. He decides to start his own company to make big money to save the family farm.
And is that relevant, do you think, to the world today, appreciating exactly the Alberta story and the problems we're facing?
I think it's really important to understand a bit of the background of the Alberta oil patch. I was very fortunate. I came out of engineering school in the 70s, and I got to work during that time period. And the days in the oil patch are very long. The temperature conditions are extreme. You can be under a lot of stress and pressure. And I think consumers take it for granted at the pump, all the behind the scenes that happens.
And what's your part of this?
So I'm more on the business side, the community relations side. So I have a background in business development, and Nattalia and I have known each other for many years. This is a bit of a passion project for me. So it's really an opportunity to showcase Nattalia's experience and then tell the story of what's going on in oil and gas. It's also riding off the coattails of Landman, which is gaining tons of popularity. And so this is our opportunity to tell the Calgary story. But not just the Calgary story, it's really the whole Western Canadian sedimentary basin and all the innovation that's happened, whether it's from the 70s, 80s, 90s, or even dating back to 1850.
It's kind of interesting to see this because of the Trump tariff threat, all this sort of vigor that people who typically were kind of very critical of the energy industry, like the tax benefits, loved Alberta's money flowing eastward. Do you think there's a new appetite that will last where Canadians appreciate each other and the rest of Canada appreciates what Alberta has contributed to this country?
Yes, and I think it's through the storytelling. I think with the television series, we're going to show the humanity and the daily struggles of these working class people, trying to put food on the table, trying to pay their mortgage or their rent. All the struggles that we see with Canadians today will be addressed in the story.
Do you think that Canadians vilify Albertans instead of humanizing them? Do you think that that is something that some prejudice against people in the oil patch? Do you think that that's a reality that is out there but it's getting better?
Well, I come from Vancouver, born and raised in Vancouver, and my sisters in Vancouver, they go, "Oh, well, you're just an Alberta redneck." Like they have a stereotype. And at one point, I ran a networking luncheon group called Sustainable Industrial Development for the 21st Century, and I invited some people from Vancouver to speak to our group, and they said, "No way, we're not coming to Alberta."
There you go. So, yes.
We may not have done a good job of sharing our story.
What's next? How do we do this?
We want to build a business model for producing a television series in Alberta, but it won't just be limited to this first production. We've got plans for other productions. We want a lot of community engagement and involvement and participation.
Yeah, I think it really is the power of everyone working together. I kind of make the analogy, I've worked in oil and gas for service companies doing sales and marketing, and it's let's all play nicely in the sandbox together. We all have the same end goal, and it's about telling a different story in a different way and sharing all the innovation that's been going on for so many years. And I think this is the time to tell about the good times, and then it's boom and then bust. What happens when the bust happens? That's when the real creativity and innovation comes into play.